Hello and welcome to Soul Guidance with Adriana. I am a self-love coach for those on the spiritual path. And today I wanted to share some thoughts about stillness with the hope and intention that it will help you either understand things that are going on in your spiritual journey or to give you kind of a heads up of something that might be happening in front of you. So stillness almost seems kind of like a spiritual cliche. You know, when people think of stillness, they maybe think of meditation, and people say, oh, well, if you want to be spiritual, you need to meditate, you need to spend hours meditating. And, that's really not true. That's not true for everyone. It's not across the board. My first mentor never meditated. He had a different contract with his guides. He was able to access that information and the connection to his guides without meditation. But what meditation does is it helps still that, again, cliche monkey mind. It gets you to that point of stillness. And what we maybe don't talk about is why stillness is so important. Stillness gets you back to the essence of who you really are, which is actually self without a self. Okay? Who we are, what your name is, what your sun sign is, where you come from, who your family is, all of that is story, all of that is ego self, all of that is kind of a fake construction built for us to learn what we have to learn down here, but our essence is none of those things. Our essence is just this open, connected presence, and that's it. And stillness takes you to that place. So if you are one of these people who cannot meditate, who can't sit still, that's okay, because there's many ways to get to stillness. The first thing you really need to do is have the intention to get to stillness. And I think this is the crux. Most of us are afraid to be still, and we're afraid to be alone with ourselves. For some reason, that person that looks you in the mirror is the most terrifying person in your world. And, I understand. We have many ways of distracting ourselves, and we are very successful at distracting ourselves. So to even want to be still requires a big act of courage. So, if you want to be still, if you want to meditate and you try and you fail, you can't get your mind quiet, it doesn't matter. You've had the courage to say, I want to be still. So that's really the first step, wanting to be still. And if you're not quite at that place yet, I want to talk a little bit even more about what stillness is. Stillness is also that space in between creations. I don't know if you've ever been to a concert, maybe more likely to happen in classical music because of the etiquette that you follow on stage. I'm sure it happens in other kinds of music as well, where right before the performer plays, there's this moment of stillness. They haven't quite started to put their hands on their instrument. They haven't taken their first breath, but everyone's just waiting, and there's this perfect stillness. And it can happen sometimes after a really intimate emotional piece that ends quietly. There's just this stillness. And what this stillness is this space for inspiration. It's this space for creativity to come in. Even before I started this whole spiritual path thing, I used to do artwork. I didn't know I was doing this. It's just something I did instinctively. But before I drew, I would stop and I would try to sense up into what I now know was my crown chakra, but I would just try to get up there to that place of stillness. And then I would let the image come out, or I'd pick up the color, I'd know what to do. But you have to get to that point of stillness before you know what to create next in your life. Stillness is also that space that's consolidating or trying to bring together everything that you've been accumulating, synthesizing, thinking about, learning during the day. Stillness is the space where all of that kind of coalesces and comes together. So stillness and being quiet and alone with yourself is actually a really nice space to be. It's really quite a beautiful experience if you can allow yourself to experience it. Stillness doesn't necessarily mean no motion. You can get to a space of stillness while you're walking, while you're playing sports, while you're playing music, while you're doing something. But the idea is that it's this that's still. The mind is still. It's completely involved in the moment. You know, even getting so caught up in looking at something amazing, like a flower or an image, something, or outside you see something, that moment of stillness where you are communing with whatever you're looking at, that is stillness. That is a higher vibration space. And I want to kind of leave you with another thought, that it was Beethoven that I'm aware of first said this. I'm sure other people have said it too, but that there's as much music in the rests as there are in the notes. The rests are just as important as the notes. And as a music teacher and as a pianist, I see this all the time where people just rush through the notes. Well, I'm not playing, I'm not doing anything, so I'm just going to skip over the rest. But the rest gives you the timing. The rest gives you comic timing. If you watch really amazing comedians, you see they use silence to make their point. Suspense needs silence. So there's creativity and suspense. We don't know what's going to happen next, but everything has the potential to come together. And then we have some kind of act, right? Some kind of music, some kind of something. The other thing that occurs to me is we spend probably over half of our lives sleeping. Well, maybe a little less than half of our lives sleeping, but that's a kind of stillness and silence as well. We're not actively doing. So a lot of our life, whether we like it or not, or whether we consciously control it or not, is spent in silence and in stillness. So I want to close because I hope this inspires you to explore deeper and longer time in stillness. I had this experience the other day. I do meditate because I do need it to calm my mind down. But I had this moment where I got everything still, my energy, my mind, everything just still. And I swear I could hear the heartbeat of the universe. I could sense this bigger creative power around me. It was a really magical experience. So I really encourage you to explore stillness and explore silence, explore stillness a little bit more. I would love to know your experiences with it and your thoughts. And if you have any questions, always please reach out in the comments or say hello otherwise. But I hope this inspires you on your journey, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.